This is a TalkStation original podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Paper Boys podcast. I'm JJ Smith.
And I'm Zach Nally.
We're reporters with the Carteret County News-Times. We are doing a series on former county student athletes who have taken unique paths in college. And joining us today from former West Carteret baseball player, now a cheerleader, which I would say that's a unique path, is Jackson Sproul. Jackson, thanks for being with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
How does one become a standout baseball pitcher to cheerleader at UNC Chapel Hill?
For me, it was just I was in the right place at the right time, I think. It was
This is freshman year, right?
Oh, yes. It was last year. I maybe have slept in my dorm 2 nights at this point, and we have a thing called Fall Fest at the beginning of the year where let's try the freshmen. They try to get introduced to stuff on campus, and all the different clubs are out trying to recruit people, and there's thousands of people out there in the quad and by the library, and it was so crazy. And I just got approached by 3 or 4 groups of cheerleaders, and they were just like, "You should cheer." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Of course, I was a little shocked by it. That never crossed my mind until one of them asked me. He said, "What did you play in high school?" I was like, "I just played baseball." And he said, "That's all I played too." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And I'm like, "So you had no experience with this whatsoever?" He was like, "Zero." I'm like, "All right, man." So I went to tryouts and I made the team, and I've just been going on ever since.
And I remember I did a story on Jackson. Let's see, when did this run? Last summer. And you said that at that Fall Fest, you're approached by a lot of groups, right, trying to get you to join them.
Yeah, so I was approached by several, definitely.
Yeah, and the cheerleading come up to you, and you probably on first blush was like, "Yeah, I really have no." you probably thought I have no interest in that, right?
Oh no, yeah, I thought it was really funny at first, and then by the time the 3rd or 4th group showed up, I was like, all right, okay, well, this is kind of weird.
And
so I was like, sorry.
And Jackson is 6'2", 230, so you're a big hulking guy. So they're looking for somebody that can throw people around, right?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
And you didn't think you were going to make the JV squad?
Oh no, I texted my parents that night and called them, and I told them about it, and they're like, absolutely you should. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why not? I'm like, all right, I guess so. So then I show up, and I get there for 5 minutes, and I'm already tossing people up in the air. I'm like, okay, should we not take it slow? And they're like, this is slow. I'm like, what?
This is basic. Well, it's so hard, right? There's no other sport where you can just walk up and start playing at a Division I or competing at a Division I level or taking part in it in any way, really. Yeah. And so I'm sure it
was very unique, very unique.
When they approach you, you're like, how could I possibly have the skills needed to do this? But by being an athlete, you were able to bring things to the table and I guess catch on quickly enough.
Yeah, I remember Jackson telling me you said you had been there all of 15 minutes, and they were like, "Okay, you're going to hold her up above your head."
Mm-hmm. And I did. My 2nd or 3rd try, I had a grown person standing on my hand. So I was like, all right, that's pretty neat.
So I'm doing this now. And so first day, do you think, why? Are you think, am I going to get invited back?
I really hoped at that point, because I was kind of snooping around looking at the groups. And I'm like, I'm doing pretty good compared to everybody else. So hopefully I'll get called back. And I got an email 2 nights after that. And it was basically the second workout was pretty much the same thing, but just less people. And it was just to narrow it down even further. And then I got the official email. I was telling all my friends. I was so excited. And there you go.
I remember you telling me how excited your parents were, Paul and Pam. They thought it was just about the coolest thing you'd ever done in your life.
Oh my gosh, yes. The first football game I cheered at, it was against Campbell, and it was last year, so we were actually good. And there weren't many people there, and they showed up and they had T-shirts made. Oh my gosh, they were so happy.
Paul, a longtime PE teacher at Newport.
My PE teacher.
Your PE teacher.
Newport Middle.
Shout out to the Eagles.
Shout out to the Eagles. Paul
yeah.
First year it was open, 7th grade, and I still remember Paul Sproul.
And Zach and I are probably like everybody else in the county. We have never called him Paul Sproul.
No,
he's Paul Sproul.
Paul Sproul.
Yeah, Paul Sproul.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that were you a little taken aback about how excited they were? Were they more excited about that than they were anything you ever did in baseball?
It had to have been up there. When I hit a couple home runs, they were probably a little excited, but seeing me on the field, and my mom probably posted 8 things on Instagram that day, and she was, oh my gosh, it was awesome.
Well, it's so different. They've been going to baseball games their whole life and other sports you competed in as a kid and stuff, but this is totally different and unique and unexpected and fun. I can imagine as a parent, any new hard to put it in other words, random sport thrown out there, and you would just be like, well, yeah, we're coming out there to watch. Of course, this is totally.
Well, plus you're at Kenan Stadium. You're the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Well, that certainly doesn't help. That doesn't hurt, does it?
No. And is Paul a lifelong Tar Heels fan?
Oh no, absolutely not. It was they I wouldn't say absolutely not. They didn't have anything against them, but my mom went to UVA and my dad went to ECU, and they started being Tar Heel fans with my sister. She went to UNC in 2016.
Okay.
And then my brother went to UNC, and then I went to UNC. So it's just
oh my gosh,
three heels in the house.
What a Carolina family you've become.
Oh yeah.
They weren't fans, but they are now. They have to be.
Yeah.
They got to be fans now.
They spent a lot of money to Chapel
No
Hill.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then, but the reaction from some of the baseball teammates that wasn't quite on the same level as the parents. For some of them, anyway. You said.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. They were definitely happy for me. Like I still see it occasionally, but especially like my first few games cheering, like all of them, they were putting pictures on their Instagram and Snapchat stories, and they were calling me after the games and telling me how it went and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was so cool.
When you were at West playing baseball, could you imagine if somebody would have come and told you were going to be a cheerleader at Carolina? What would your reaction have been?
I would have called him crazy and laughed in his face for sure, 100%.
What's it been
like?
No
doubt about it.
You're in your sophomore year now, right?
Yeah.
So what's it been like now, a year later? Has it changed? Does it?
Yeah, he's a wily old veteran now.
I was gonna say.
I mean, it's stayed pretty consistent. I mean, the coaching's the same. It's just I've gotten a lot better, and I know next year I'll be on varsity, or it's looking like that now. I mean, it should happen like that. So I know next year I'll be on varsity. I'll be on the other sideline for football games. I'll be in the Dean Dome next year. I'm really psyched for that, and so it's just keep progressing, keep getting better, and just keep trying, you know.
And you probably in the best shape. Would you say you're in the best shape?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it instantly keeps you in your athletic, regimen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where would you say you rank
definitely.
as far as shape, Jackson, compared to what you did in high school?
I'd definitely say I'm definitely stronger than I've ever been, for sure, 100%.
Doing a lot. So, weightlifting sessions, I would imagine, pretty frequently.
Like we had a lift today. We have lifts on Tuesday and Thursdays, and we have like one of the former football trainers in there, so he's legit, and he's having us doing exercises I've never done, and it's hard, but it's good.
Are you hitting PRs all the time?
I'd like to, but I sometimes don't test myself, and then I push more weight than I thought I could do. I'm like, wow, okay, that wasn't that hard.
Tell us about freshman year. What were some of the highlights as far as the athletic events you were cheering at?
Definitely the highlight was when we beat Duke in double overtime. That was absolutely electric. That was awesome. Yeah. Just everybody rushing the field, and the coach was yelling at us, like, don't move. They had us circle up next to each other so we didn't get lost, because it was just, and finding my friends on the field, taking pictures with them, I think that was the worst headache I've ever had in my entire life, but it was worth it.
Yeah, nothing like being a part of a field rushing moment, right?
Oh no, absolutely not.
And sophomore year football and basketball these are not the great days at Carolina, are they, Jackson?
You can say that. No, they're not.
But you have now all of a sudden you talk about being part of a cool experience. The GOAT coach coming to Chapel Hill. What do we think about Mr. Belichick bringing his 7 Super Bowl rings, or 8 or 9? However.
Oh my gosh, It's either going to be the best thing that's ever happened, or the worst thing. But either way, it's going to be really cool seeing him. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, the athletic department bosses are either going to look like geniuses or idiots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the buzz been like? What's the buzz been like on campus since he signed?
Oh, that's like, anytime someone brings up sports, you got to talk about that. It's just like he was here for 2 weeks, and they've already started they're turning Kenan back into a grass stadium. They're stripping all the turf off. Obviously, like, we're getting more recruits now. You know, I mean, when Bill Belichick says you want to come play football for you, you usually say yes.
Have you had a Bill Belichick sighting?
I am personally not, okay. But I had some of my buddies that went to one of the basketball games. He made an appearance there, and so that was really cool.
And it's one thing for the football team to struggle, because it has from time to time throughout the years. But the basketball team really struggling right now. What are our thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
What are our thoughts on the Heels on the basketball court?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say anything too bad. But
Jackson's like, this is public.
This is my athletic program. Just be chill. Be chill.
It's kind of funny because the coaches were talking about me earlier. I'm still cheering at a bunch of the women's games, and like they're doing really good right now, which is exciting. But
Nice.
they say they like me because they realize they know I'm a fan, but sometimes I'm more of a fan than a cheerleader, so I can get a little angry and a little loud sometimes when I don't need to be. But they like that about me because like they know I do enjoy it. I really do enjoy being there.
Yeah, you're bringing your passion to it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the hardest things.
If I don't want to, I mean, I've loved watching sports my whole life, and I mean, it's just a better chance to do it. It's just a cool opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the harder things about being a sports reporter is you can't bring that to the table.
Yeah,
you have to sit there and pretend. Yeah, even though you're, it's seventh inning against Croatan and
right, one run.
Yeah, and you wanna get into it, but you can't. But it's interesting.
I can't.
I'm so curious because we were talking to a couple college athletes this week for the podcast, and we just spoke to Alexis K at Vanderbilt, who's experiencing kind of the opposite, where a school that has not had very much success in the revenue sports, and suddenly it's having a lot of it, and what that's like. And here at Chapel Hill, where football's got Belichick and basketball struggling, and they're probably going to be opening up the purse strings and making some changes. And what's it like being a college athlete in the midst of what's the biggest change in college sports ever right now, and with everything going on around you? Do you notice it?
I definitely do. I think I do. It's just, especially last year when you're coming in when, like, for football preseason, we're ranked, top 20. And you got, one of the greatest college quarterbacks to ever play in the last decade or so. And watching him play, and it's so different. And you say, like, we made Sweet 16 last year. We were ranked first in the tournament, and then now they're questioning if we will make the tournament. It's definitely so weird because, like, last year we looked forward to so much, like, all the events so much more. And then also that we did win the women's team. They did win the soccer chip, though. That was cool.
For sure.
That was cool.
Yeah, especially when you're out there and you get to see it being part of it. But I mean, like, in terms of the college athletics, with NIL and the transfer portal, and there's so many changes happening, and it just kind of feels like some schools have benefited from it just this year alone.
And adjusted made the transition.
Yeah, and some schools are struggling to make that transition, and I'm sure will get
eventually
back to their and what's that like to be there and sort of the epicenter of it all right now at Chapel Hill?
I mean, a lot of people are questioning if Bill will be able to, cope with that. But if he can change with that, going from NFL to
it's very different,
like to college, where players can, they can put in for a transfer whenever they want. They can, like, again, I know half the team I won't even recognize next year because they'll either graduated or they're new kids, or
wow,
like the day after the season ended, you had a dozen people put their name in the transfer portal. Like 6 of them were 3-year starters. It's like a team can be destroyed just like that, which is, it's kind of sad seeing it, but it's just the way college sports are now.
Yeah.
I mentioned Jackson was a standout pitcher at West Carteret. So much standout that he was the 3A Coastal Conference Player of the Year as a senior. He had a 1.70 ERA. Jackson, you played baseball your entire life, I'm sure, since you were probably five or six, and then your senior year, it's you're thinking, especially with you because you were a standout student. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you're going to Carolina, so you're like my athletic days are behind me. Well, what does that feel like when you've played organized sports for like your entire life, and now all of a sudden that has come to a complete halt?
It's definitely hard. I mean, I miss baseball every day. I really do. That was a really big adjustment, and I definitely could have played club ball. Like, I played it my freshman year, but it just interfered with cheer a lot more. And I know cheer would definitely been a bigger and better opportunity than club baseball here. It is definitely odd, just because like with cheer, and like it's an organized team and we do stuff, but there are like people do compete on the team, and they get better and we drive each other. But it's not like baseball. It's not like that where you can talk trash a little bit, you can get in people's face, you can do your own thing, stretch your stuff a little bit, but with cheer like that, it's just not, because it's not about us. We're just trying to raise the spirit for the other teams, and so it has been a really big adjustment, and I'm definitely getting used to it more. But I still struggle with it at times because it just I mean, baseball was like my whole life for 12 years, 13 years, and all of a sudden not have it that was a really big adjustment for sure.
Do you think cheer in some way, shape, or form, even in a very small way, has helped kind of fill that that hole in your sports soul where it's at least a little bit competitive. It's still athletics.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like I said, I remember telling you last summer that was my biggest fear, is like of not having anything athletic, because like I could have probably played somewhere smaller if I.
Right.
I didn't really make an effort to get recruited. I just didn't really think I could. I definitely could have played at a smaller school.
For sure.
But I just don't think I would have enjoyed it, and I think I would have ended up hating baseball. And I still love baseball, and I don't want to hate it.
Yeah, right now, 1,000%, you could be getting ready for baseball at Wesleyan, at Methodist, at Mount Olive, places like that, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But it just that level or making it more of a, which it can be, athletics at the college level can be more of a job. You think it kind of would have ruined the sport for you?
I think so, especially like when you go to a small school that was, barely bigger than my high school, but it's not home and it's in the middle of nowhere, and the only thing you have to do is school and baseball. I think it would it would definitely drain me a little bit, and I know people that exact thing has happened to them, and they just get burnt out and they don't love the sport like they used to, and I was definitely fearful of that.
Jackson was his senior year was a student athlete of the week. Jackson is by far one of my favorite all-time student athlete of the weeks. Not because like we connected on a personal level or because he just gave me cool quotes or anything, but the lead of this student athlete of the week was unlike any other lead that I have ever done or probably ever will do for the rest of my career. They had beaten J.H. Rose, who was, I think, the number one team in the state, and it was such a good rematch because in the game before, some of the J.H. Rose guys were making fun of Jackson, and they were making fun of him for a particular reason. They said a certain part of his anatomy was big. And what part of your anatomy, Jackson, did they say was big?
Just my whole self, my whole body was massive, apparently.
Mostly your butt, though, right?
Oh, yeah. They love talking about that.
So I was like, I can't say in a story that Jackson Sproul has a big butt. I've got to figure out some kind of way to. So I said that they said that his derriere was large.
There you go.
Yeah. I tried to clean it up as best as possible. And Jackson said, take this big butt and shove it down your throat because they beat the number one team in the state.
Well, see, that was the next game.
The next game because he was starting. Yeah. And gave up just one earned run, and it was still good versus like the number one team in the state in 4 1/3 innings, struck out 5, walked 2. No, I'm sorry, that was my bad. I'm reading. That's the first game, so they lose 6-1 in the first game. But Jackson still pitched well. He only gave up 1 run in 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 5, walked 2, but 3 unearned runs kill him. And then in the rematch, do you still remember that rematch? Do you still remember that game, Jackson?
Oh, absolutely. That kind of sounds like a peak in high school memory, but I'm going to remember something like that forever.
Yeah. No, not at all. That was a moment, you only so many games where you get to bring that level of emotion to it of I have a particular reason I want to beat these folks more than just the W and L at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rampants were 9-0, so you get to just give them that blemish, give them that first one, and they're number one team in the 3A East. They were number 3 team in the state across all classifications.
Yeah.
And West at the time was just 2-3, so they're under 500. Jackson hits a solo home run, and just take that, boys from Greenville.
Those were chippy games.
Don't talk about my tushy no more.
Oh yeah, they were always.
Like these were games where the coaches had to come out and argue with each other, with the ump and stuff. They were testy games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I'll never forget that. I was like, well, what was the chatter? Jackson's like, they said my butt was big. So, Jackson, Carolina or some other type school was definitely a priority for you. Jackson was one of the top kids in his class. He's ranked in the top 15. He had a 4.5 GPA. You wanted to go to Carolina. What did you think you were going to study when you were thinking about going to Carolina? And what other schools were you thinking about going to?
It was definitely there between state and UNC. I applied like a few smaller out of state places. That was more just if something like baseball wise turned out. But it was definitely between state and Carolina, and it was for about a month. It was honestly a really tough decision just because I enjoyed both schools. I knew people were going to both. I knew I would have had a good community there. But it was just, I remember during the summer I was touring campuses with my mom, and it was just, I toured state, and I loved it, but I wasn't like blown away. And I went on UNC's campus, and I was just like, wow, like I could really picture myself here. And I just made my decision right there, and I told my mom, I'm going to go to Carolina. She's like, all right, well, that's good. And I think they were kind of hoping I'd go to Carolina just because of what I told them I had an idea of studying. So I think they were definitely happy about that.
And are you still planning on doing the biology pre-med major?
Yes.
Definitely. With hopes of working on people's teeth.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal. That's the idea.
And how long have we thought about becoming a dentist?
I mean, it's always been in my head since high school. Like, I know with either any career that I want to pursue, I wanted to help. Even whether it be the environment through marine studies or something medical where you can make an impact in people's lives. I knew I would always want to do something like that, and I've had a good experience with dentists. Our family dentist is really good. My granddad, he was a dentist. He helped start the the dental program at Wayne Community College. He was a big time guy in that area, and it seems like a really cool field of study too.
Doc Sproul, DS, right there.
There you go.
Right there.
And Jackson, you talked about how it was a bit of a culture shock going from West to Carolina. How many you said was in your first class at Carolina your freshman year?
Oh, I mean, I roll into a lecture hall and there's 400-something people in there, and I'm just, I'm 100 yards away from the board. I didn't have my glasses. I couldn't see nothing. I was definitely a little intimidated.
You said I'm not in Morehead City anymore.
Oh no,
that was probably more in your graduating class, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was probably almost double that. It was
for sure. And we were always following in the footsteps of older brother Samuel in baseball and academically, and now we're on the same campus. What's that like?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. It's just, I know if I ever get lost or ever have a question about a professor or a class, I know I can either call my brother and sister, and chances are they've done it themselves and they know someone who did it, so they always got good advice to offer me and know the best places to eat and what to do around campus and stuff. So I'm never in the blue. I'm never completely confused about stuff.
And playing baseball your whole life and going to Carolina and just right off the bat making the cheer team. Can you imagine going to school and not doing anything extracurricular? How strange would that be?
I'd probably be very unmotivated and very lazy or either that or would try to feel something, but something, I feel like I just needed something organized to keep me going.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
No, I don't even know what I was going to say.
Well, what do you think it'll be like once you really start getting heavy into your major? That's going to be a pretty intense major, I would assume. You think you'll have, time management obviously will be paramount with doing cheer and being a pre-med biology major.
Mm-hmm. I think I can handle it. It's just, I tend to procrastinate, and once I definitely need to break that habit, but it's just I know I can handle it. And I'm also I'm leading Young Life at a local middle school, that's a really cool opportunity, and just connecting with those kids and trying to introduce them to faith and Christianity and Christ. It's pretty cool, and I know there's a lot of people who have a lot more on their plate and can handle it, and that just kind of inspires me to just keep pushing. And I know if I keep pushing, I know I can break through.
So we're still staying pretty busy these days.
Oh, yes, for sure. Absolutely. I just got out of an exam probably 20 minutes ago.
Well, we appreciate you making time. Are we looking forward
absolutely.
Are we looking forward to getting on the field there on September 1, TCU with Belichick on the sideline?
Oh, Monday Night Football, 7:30 at night. Oh, my gosh. I am pumped. That is going to be so cool.
Awesome. Well, Jackson, you're definitely filling the bill as a unique college athlete. We're going to be keeping up with you. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.